Hi everyone, my name is Hamza and I am IT consultant working at Attire Norway. Today's video is hands-on demonstration on Cisco Identity Service Engine deployment scenario. And the scenario that I picked for today's video is two-node deployment, where one of the node will be the primary and the other one will be the secondary. If that sounds good, let's get started. And now let's get familiar with the topology that we will be using first. This is the primary node and this is the secondary node. And here is my domain controller where I installed certificate authority and DNS. And I registered both the primary and the secondary fully qualified domain name in the DNS database. And both nodes are up and running. As we can see here, this is the primary and this is the fully qualified domain name for it. And this is the IP address that I will be using. And as we can see, the role is standalone on both. This is the secondary and the role is standalone. So the first thing that I will do is to import the certificate authority certificate itself into both nodes in the trusted certificate. So, and I will show you what do I mean by that. If we go to certificate here and go to the trusted certificate, these are all the trusted certificate that ISE will trust as a certificate authority to accept a certificate in the system. Yeah, let's go to the domain controller. And I will open the browser right now. And because I installed the certificate authority on this local server, I can just write HTTP localhost cert serve, and then I will go to the GUI of the certificate authority. And we will go to download a CA certificate and download CA certificate. And now let's move the certificate that I just downloaded now to the FTP file so that I can access to it from my local machine. All right, so let's open up FileZilla. And now this is the file that I want. So I will just drag and drop it here. Okay, now the certificate's on my local machine. I can just go back to the primary node. And under the trusted certificate, I'll click on import and browse. And this is the certificate I want, and click on open and just give it a friendly name. And I will use it for client authentication, certificate-based admin, and for Cisco services. And click on submit, just taking a few seconds. Okay, trust certificate was added successfully. This is good. Now we can do the same on the primary one. So under the trusted certificate here, and let's click on import, browse. This is the same certificate. Click on open, give it a friendly name. And I will click on all these three, and I will leave the valid certificate extension unchecked because I don't want that. Click on submit. Here we go. Let's move on to the next step. So the next step, I will go to primary and certificate signing request, and I will generate certificate signing request CSR. And the file that I will get here after the generation complete, I will copy it and go to the certificate authority to paste it so that I can generate a certificate from my certificate authority. So let's generate CSR here. So the usage, I will use it for multi-use, and I will not click on the allow wildcard certificate, and I will click on this node. And I will leave the fully qualified domain name and the organization unit. I will just write ISE. You can write whatever you want. Okay, and I will leave key type, key length, the default value, and click on generate. Successfully generated CSR. That's good. And I don't want to export it. I will click on OK. and click on View. Go to the CSR contents because, as I said, we need to copy these contents and go to the certificate authority and paste it so that we can generate a certificate and then bind it with this one here. Done copying, go back to the server and go back to the home page and click on Request a Certificate and click on Advanced Certificate Request. And this is the field where I will paste the content that I got from the CSR. And the certificate template, I will use it as a web server. And this is all I need. Now I can click Submit and download the certificate. I just need to change the name here. And I will move it to the FTP file here. And then I can just refresh FileZilla and drag and drop it here. And now it's on my local machine. So I will go back here. And now it's the time to bind the certificate. So click on Bind. The certificate file, we go to Browse, and this is the certificate that I want to bind. Click on OK and give it a friendly name. And I will leave the valid certificate extension unchecked here. And the usage, I will be using for admin, EAP, radius DTLS, and the portal. So I will click on them here, click OK. And this is just a warning telling me enabling admin rule for this certificate will cause an application server restart, of course. And here's the notes. And this note's telling me make sure required certificate chain is imported under the trusted certificates, which I already did. So I will click on OK. And EAP. And this is just the same messaging here. Only one system certificate can be used for EAP. Assigned EAP to the certificate will remove the assignment for another certificate. Because it's already have been using the self-signed certificate for the admin and EAP authentication, radius DTLS, and the portal, I cannot use another certificate for the same usage. So it's just telling me we will remove this usage from the self-signed certificate and then we will assign it to this one. It's just a warning. Is that okay? And I will click OK. And it's giving me the same note again that makes sure that the certificate chain is imported under the trusted certificate, which I already did. So I will click on OK. I will click on OK and the portal, and I will use it default and click on Submit. Enabling admin rule for this certificate will cause an application server restart. Click on Yes. The certificate has a valid period longer than 398 days. It may be untrusted by many browsers. I will click Yes. And a lot of warning messages here. And the portal tag is already assigned to the following certificates. If you proceed, it will be removed from the existing certificate and affected portals will be restarted. Do you want to proceed? I'll click on Yes. And it will take, I don't know, a few minutes. And this is the system. This is the message telling me the system will now restart and I will be logged out. That's fine. And while we are waiting for the application server to run again, we can go to the secondary and do exactly the same thing. And maybe I will just skip through it. I will go to the certificate signing request and generate, and I will just use the same thing I did there. And this is really important because we need to generate a new certificate for the secondary node, because the CSR contain the fully qualified domain name of the node. And because we have different fully qualified domain name for these two nodes, we cannot use the same CSR content of the primary and generate a certificate for the secondary. So that's why I need to copy the CSR content and go back to the certificate authority here. And I will delete this because it belongs to the primary one. And now I will paste the content of the CSR that's belong to the secondary node. And then I will use the web server template and click on submit and download certificate. Okay, show in folder, and I will rename it. And I will move it to the FTP folder here. Okay, let's close this and let's bind the certificate. Click on browse. Where is the secondary? This is the primary. Okay, I just need to move it to my local machine. Just refresh and drag and drop it here. Okay, click on open and give it a friendly name. Okay, and I will use it for everything here except the PX Grid and ISE messaging services. And click submit. Yes, yes, yes. And I will be logged out. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back to the primary node and see if I can log in now. Okay, let's go to certificate and system certificate. And we can see here, issued to ISE Babylon.org and issued by, it's the same. So you have like an idea of that this is a self-signed certificate. But when we click on this one here, the one that we created right now, issued to ISE Babylon.org and issued by Babylon DC certificate, which is the certificate authority that I installed on the domain controller. So I can just delete the certificate that are not in use. Click OK. Click on this one and delete. Perfect. And let's go back here and go to CLI and check if the secondary application server is running. Show application status ISE. Yeah, application server is initializing. Okay, we'll just need to wait a few minutes and we will come back and continue to the next step. Okay, now we are back again. The secondary node is up and running and we can check the certificates. Here is my system certificates. And this is the certification now used for admin, EAP, authentication, Radius DTLS, and the portal. And just like we verified with the primary one, this is the node that the certificate issued to and issued by. We can see this is the Babylon DC certificate authority. So it's not issued by the same node. And that is a clear indication that the secondary node is no longer using the self-signed certificate. As we can see here, this is not in use. So we can just select it and delete it from here. Okay, now I deleted all the certificates that they are not in use anymore. And into the next step. Okay, let's go back to the primary node and click on administration and go to deployment and click on that node. and choose make primary, and will become the primary for the admin and monitor and the policy services. Because yeah, there is like 3 personas: the admin persona and monitoring and troubleshooting, and the policy persona. So I will make this node as the primary for all of these 3 persona. And I can just click on save now. Node was updated successfully. That is perfect. And we can see here the rule is primary now. And if I wanted to convert it to a standalone deployment, I can just click on make standalone, and then I will click save again. Okay, so the next step is to register the secondary node. So if I go back to deployment, click on register, I need the host fully qualified domain name and the username and password for the admin portal of the node that I am trying to register right now as a secondary. So this is the fully qualified domain name for the node. Paste it here, and the username is admin and the password. And click on next. Okay, so the rule is secondary, and I will make the secondary rule for all the 3 persona: the administration and monitoring and troubleshooting and the policy service. And I just hit submit. Okay, node was registered successfully. That is perfect. Click on OK, and as we can see here, this is the primary and this is the secondary. And we just need to wait until this triangle that said in progress turn into a green, which is connected here. And we will wait, and let's hope that both nodes will show the node status as connected. Okay, I have waited approximately 30 minutes or so, and let's try to log into the primary node and see if the node status are connected for both the primary and the secondary. Let's go to deployment here, and the status is connected for both the primary and the secondary. And that is fantastic. And there is one thing I want to clarify here. Many people may think that as long as we have the primary and the secondary and they are in a cluster and node status are connected and they are syncing, that means when the primary node fail for whatever reason, that the secondary will take over the primary rule. And this is not true in our case here. And the reason is because we have only 2 nodes. One is the primary and the other one is the secondary. So if the primary failed, we need to go to the secondary and promote it to become the primary manually, because the failover will not happen automatically because we have only 2 nodes. If we want that, if we want the failover to happen automatically, in this case, we need at least 3 nodes, and one of which will have we can call it the rule of health check, that the node will check the health of the primary and the secondary. If the heartbeats fail with the primary, then the health check node, if we can say that, it will inform the secondary that, hello, the primary node is not responding, so you need to promote yourself to the primary. So if you wish to make this process happen automatically, you need to have at least 3 nodes. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any question or if you would like to see more of this video, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel to see more of these videos. Thank you for watching.